Welcome to Business Authority, the most comprehensive business community accelerator and learning e-campus focused on supporting entrepreneurs 50 plus. I'm Bruce Frankel, and it's my honor and pleasure to introduce you today to Jeff Williams, founder and chief coach of BizStarters. He's a highly respected veteran of business consulting for entrepreneurs 50 plus and has built a national reputation helping business founders get their businesses up and running in 90 days or less. And we're delighted to be working with him at Business Authority. So let's dive right in, Jeff. Why don't you go ahead and describe for me your business?
Well, Bruce, thank you for having me today. We have been helping people over 50 launch businesses since 1999. And we do it via our virtual incubator business starter program, in which we match each startup client with an experienced business startup coach and a team of service providers to help them launch their business.
So talk to me a little about how and when and why you started BizStarters.
Well, my first business after I left the corporate world at age 40 was as a marketing consultant. I'm a marketing guy. I have an MBA in marketing and spent 20 years doing that in the corporate world. And while I was consulting with a couple of clients on marketing, I realized that they had made a lot of mistakes launching their businesses. There were a lot of things they had not done right. So I decided to use my extensive experience in working with small business owners to launch a walk-in business startup center in suburban Chicago. And that's how I got into the business.
Great. What are some of the key advantages for entrepreneurs over 50 starting a business now?
Sure. Let me mention three that are particularly attractive. Number one, you can continue to do attractive work and make a nice income at it. The reality is that very few people, anytime in their 50s, can just walk away after leaving the corporate world and not do any more work. So we give them an alternative way to do work they enjoy and make a nice living. Number two, you can enjoy great schedule flexibility as your own boss. So you can blend that leisure time and business time much more effectively than you could in the corporate world. And number three, and this is something I've done myself, you can involve family in running your business if you want to.
Great. And just as an add to that, how do you work with people to get them started?
Well, we use what we call the low-cost, high-profit business model. And let me describe that just a bit. First of all, the low-cost part comes from three key elements. Number one, because most of our clients run their businesses from home, they pay no outside rent. And rent can kill you as a new business. This is true of a lot of retail businesses. Number two, instead of having expensive employees, they use contract labor. I use a site called Upwork to bid out work when I need it. Therefore, I don't have to have a W-2 employee on staff. I did have them at one time, but they all kind of went away. And my accountant said, you know, Jeff, it costs you more to have them than not have them. And number three is you can enjoy free and low-cost marketing tactics today, such as email marketing and social media. When I launched my first business almost 30 years ago, the primary way to market was direct mail marketing. Extremely expensive, thousands of dollars. You don't have to worry about that today.
So what are some of none of us want to see anyone lose money in starting a business. What are some of the financial considerations that are unique to older entrepreneurs, and how do you help guide them in that?
Right. Let me mention a few things here. Number one is you've got to protect your financial assets when you're the older entrepreneur. Our typical startup client has at least $100,000 in a 401k, and you have to make sure that you protect that. Now, the good news is it's relatively simple. To set yourself up as a limited liability company or corporation, and that gives you some protection of your personal assets. Number two is you need to find a way to replace your corporate health insurance until you're eligible for Medicare. So if you're 57, you're looking at 8 years before you're eligible. Now, in my case, I get my health insurance through my wife, who got it as part of her retirement from working for the county court system here in Chicago. If you don't have that benefit, then you got to find something. And there are a number of ways to do that. Unfortunately, they're all expensive, but you got to have health insurance. You can't go. And then thirdly, if you do this right and you run your business for 5, 6, 7 years, there's a chance you can grow this to multiple hundred thousands of dollars a year, which means it's an important part of your estate. So you need to have some kind of written succession plan for what happens if you either want to retire completely or you should die. And this may not be so true of younger entrepreneurs.
So when I know you're committed to your clients, and I know you work pretty tirelessly to help them. But when you're not working, what do you like to do?
Well, number one is my family. My wife's been retired for 25 years, and I still run 2 companies here. So I have the schedule flexibility to continue to grow my company and still have a lot of fun with my wife. For example, in the summer, I don't work on Fridays, and I'm able to do that. It's taken me a few years to get to that point, but so number one is my family. My wife and I both love to learn new things. We've recently got involved with a local senior center, which is 10 minutes from our house, because they provide a lot of great stuff. And now, if they have something at 4:30 in the afternoon, I can go. Where when I was a corporate employee, I didn't get home till 8 o'clock at night, so couldn't do that. Second of importance to me is volunteer work. Number one, I volunteer as a mentor for a high school entrepreneurship program at our local high school. It's a year-long program. I've been doing it for 6 years now. I coach a team every year, and it's a competition. It's like a Shark Tank like competition. A few years ago, one of our teams won the district championship, which was nice.
Great.
So I enjoy doing that. I also serve as an officer for a men's organization. I'm the treasurer. I used to be the head of the organization. I've been with them for 20 years. And then thirdly is I work as a consultant with what is known as a business accelerator program out here supported by 5 municipalities in Northwest suburban Chicago.
Fantastic. So just before we wrap up and I ask you for a last takeaway for our listeners, one other question I'd just like to throw at you, which is when you first meet an entrepreneur who's interested in building a business and he's over 50, what's the most important thing for you? What are you looking for when you're listening to that person?
Okay, where did the concept come from? Their business concept. Is it based on a long developed skill? Is it based on a hobby you've enjoyed doing? Or did your brother-in-law tell you at the last barbecue that you could make a lot of money doing this? That's what I call blue skyer. And I try to eliminate the blue skyers. If you can say to me, listen, I know, for example, I did this in the corporate world and we hired consultants all the time for $200 an hour. I think they'll pay me something like that, then I think we have a solid ground.
Great, fantastic. So one last takeaway you hope entrepreneurs 50 plus will remember from what you have to say.
Sure. 2 things. Number one, it's never been less expensive, therefore less risky to start a business than it is today. The fact you can do it at home without employees and you can use inexpensive marketing makes the risk really low, which also makes you highly profitable. Most of your income becomes profit. And secondly, the last thing I want to say, and the U.S. Small Business Administration has verified this, 50 plus entrepreneurs have a much higher success rate than younger entrepreneurs. So you should be encouraged by that.
Fantastic. I totally agree with you. So if you're interested in speaking to Jeff, learning more about what he does, contact us here at Business Authority and we'll introduce you to Jeff and provide you with his info. But I'm also going to ask Jeff to provide his contact information now for you as well, so you can hear him say it. And just when you speak to Jeff, tell him that Business Authority sent you. And by doing that, you'll qualify for a free Business Authority business assessment as well. Thanks for joining us for this quick and informative interview with Jeff, who is one of the best out there. So we hope you'll be in touch. And Jeff, if you just kindly tell us where people can reach you, that'd be great.
Sure. Thanks so much, Bruce. just go to BizStarters, BIZStarters.com, go to the website, and right at the top of the homepage, there's a button that says Get in Touch. That allows you to contact me by email or to request a free phone call to get to know each other.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today, Jeff. Look
Thank you,
forward to
Bruce.
talking to you again.
Great talking to you.